Since the early 1990s, there have been stories about black-eyed children. These entities are said to have a dark presence, and whenever someone encounters them, they feel fear. Those who have come forward and reported their encounters have been left scared and wanting answers. The witnesses often feel the children were somehow supernatural and could even read their minds. A Marine said the following about his encounter with black-eyed children. While going for a jog, I encountered two beings. I don't want to call them children because something wasn't right. I like to think of myself as a brave kind of guy, but this is something that really got to me. In fact, it stayed with me to this day. While jogging on this path, I see two figures in the distance. It was dark at this point. However, it wasn't uncommon to see people. Occasionally, you would see people walking their dogs or even couples walking hand in hand. However, these people didn't seem like any of those. Where I jog, there's two paths you can take, and I usually take the right path. But on this particular night, these two beings were standing in the middle of the right path. I had to go this way as it then loops me round to where I started. However, as I approached, something didn't seem right. The two beings both had their heads down. One was a girl and the other was a boy. I took my headphones out and started to get worried. I thought that perhaps they were lost or needed help. As I approached though, I could see the boy kept looking up and then down really quickly, almost as if to see how close I was getting. This immediately put me on edge as it came across weird. I asked them if they needed help, and this was when I was taken back. Both of them had dark black eyes. I felt like I was being drawn into them. They asked me if I could give them a ride home, but I explained they could see me running down the path and that I didn't have my car close by. I asked where they were from and they said it's not important. They asked me if I'd let them in my house to use the telephone. At this point I really started to panic and I pretended I had a phone call. I then made a quick getaway. The reason I don't like to call them children is because something was off. These beings talked in a strange way. They sounded too intelligent for their ages. They also use old words that don't get used nowadays. You may think it's strange that I ran off, but these beings weren't normal. They did not act scared but were actually rather intimidating. The way they stared at me with their black eyes just freaked me out. I also got a bad feeling inside when I was around them. So what do you guys make of the black-eyed children? And do you think they exist? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Recently, I posted a video about the black-eyed children, and a day after, a follower of the channel emailed me their story. They said the following. It's been 4 months and I keep seeing these two boys outside my house. I live in Austin, Texas, and something really strange is happening. I was out shopping at my local store. It was late at night and I noticed these two kids standing outside the shop. I was worried and decided to walk past them to see if an adult was with them. However, this was when I noticed something odd. As they looked towards me, both the boys had jet black eyes. This threw me off and I continued shopping and then went home. I told my wife about what had happened and she suggested the two boys were pranking me. I tried to reassure myself there was most likely an explanation for this. I even thought at one point that I imagined it. Exactly a week later at 7 minutes past 11 at night, I could see two shadows outside my house. The road I live on is very quiet and I know many of the neighbours. The two people standing outside were kids. However, when I looked through my window, I recognised them from the shop. I quickly alerted my wife and told her those were the children I saw. She said that it was probably a coincidence and the kids lived on the street. However, for the next few months these children stayed outside my house, and they kept on looking in. The thing that really makes me feel uneasy is their jet black eyes. These kids have even knocked on my door on a few occasions. I've never answered and don't plan to. I don't know what to do. So what do you guys make of this story? Do you think it's two kids playing a prank or something else? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. This isn't the only black-eyed children story. On her way home one afternoon from college in North Carolina, Kerry Kistner took a detour and stopped at the Triangle Town Center Mall. After visiting the mall, she made her way back to her car in the parking lot. As she did so, she noticed a strange, almost sick-looking boy talking with an older lady. The boy looked pale with dark rings around his eyes, and he appeared to have a rigid and unnatural posture. the old lady appeared to be searching in her purse for something to give to the young boy, whom Kerry estimated to be around 12 years old. Kerry suddenly became aware there was very few people around, and the place seemed to take on an almost sinister feel. She quickened her pace to her car, but as she passed the pair, the young boy locked eyes with her. Kerry couldn't help but stare back. The boy's eyes were completely black. She moved away as quickly as she could, while the boy suddenly turned and walked away from the scene, not wanting to receive whatever the old lady was searching for in her purse. Kerry stated that she had the strange impression that while she was staring at the child, he could read her mind and knew exactly what she was thinking. So my question to you guys is, have any of you witnessed a black-eyed child? Let me know in the comments. This story was sent to me a while back. The woman said the following about her encounter. My name is Lisa and I live in Telford. My boyfriend came over to stay on this particular night, and we decided to go for a walk. Where I live is a beautiful place and I generally feel very safe where I am. After eating dinner we decided to go out for a walk. Everything was fine, but around 40 minutes in we noticed something strange. My boyfriend picked up on the fact we were being followed by a child. I looked back and saw the little girl. However, I couldn't really make out what she looked like because it was dark. My boyfriend asked me whether we should go over and help, but I thought she may have been with her family. 10 minutes after this encounter, I looked behind us and the little girl was gone. But things only got more strange after this. A few minutes later we came to a dark crossroad and the little girl started to walk towards us. Not only did this scare us, but we wondered how she managed to get in front. We decided to walk towards the little girl, but both of us were nervous. We thought she may have been lost. As soon as we was around 15 feet from this girl, we looked at each other. This girl's eyes were entirely black, and not only that, but her clothing looked really old. She said in a calm voice, "I need you to come with me." She pointed to me and during the whole encounter blanked my boyfriend. I said no and quickly walked off. While doing so, she just stood there and stared at us. It's the creepiest thing that's ever happened to me, and I have no answer for what we encountered that night. What's interesting is Telford is not far from Cannock Chase. This is the place where many people have reported encountering a black-eyed child. In fact, one of the most famous photos of a black-eyed child comes from here. This isn't the only black-eyed child story. One night a man was dozing in the spare bed in his infant daughter's room, when he heard a strange bump outside his house. Initially the man thought nothing of it, believing it to be the family cat, but the thumps continued. The man checked the porch, but the cat was nowhere to be found. He then walked into the kitchen and found two figures loitering outside his front door. They knocked on the door. Both were boys around 10 or 11 and gave off a mouldy odour. "May we use your telephone?" one of the boys asked. To his horror, the man realised both boys had eyes that were completely black. Ignoring the odd remark about their telephone, the man told the boys he didn't have any service in his house, and then shut the door. As the man slowly made his way back out to his daughter's room, the two boys thumped on the walls. The man clutched his daughter to his chest as the boys constantly knocked against the window. Their eerie eyes and awful persistence made the man too scared to fall asleep. He remained crouched on the floor of the room for several hours, fighting to ignore the knocks that occurred every couple of minutes. The moment his wife's alarm clock went off, however, the knocking ceased, and the black-eyed children were nowhere to be seen. So what do you guys make of these stories? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Black-eyed people, also known as black-eyed children, are young people, often children with eyes that are solid black. Those who report encounters with them often feel that the children were somehow supernatural, and extremely dangerous, though they could not explain why. Often they can be seen playing games and singing nursery songs. They are usually near abandoned or deserted areas. Sometimes the reports talk of them appearing at one's doorstep, usually alone or in a pair. They appear to be unusually confident, often using the mannerisms and speech patterns of an adult. They occasionally even possess the voice of an adult. They will usually attempt to talk the victim into allowing them entry into their home to use a telephone or to be safe from some danger. Occasionally when seen outside the home, they will immediately stop their play and stare at you, or if possible approach you asking for a place to stay or trying to talk you into giving them a ride home. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.